Hello, everybody. I saw a lot of videos recently saying that a lot of stuff is going on at the same time. And I do so because I'm trying to kind of communicate the most important stuff that's happening. What's left for me to do is to give some honorary mentions. And this week, it's worthwhile to mention Austria. This is the country to our south. Austria is now following the footsteps of Italy in making life very, very difficult for unvaccinated people. I can't really cover this topic in great detail, I think, because I don't have stuff. I can't really read out everything on my own, and I don't know all the details of um, how long the immunity will last or is expected to last, given from a given vaccination, if it does work at all, or the immunity that could be required through sheer exposure to the virus, if that wouldn't be better, and if that is reflected in the overall regulation, etc. I can't really speak too much about this because, as I said, I mean, I don't have stuff, so I would have to read up a lot of things. But I can say that it is sure, and it's proven by a lot of studies so far, that once you have suffered the disease with symptoms, then for sure you have a stronger immunity than the vaccination, and that is most certainly not reflected in the code that is rolled out over Austria right now. So Austrians are treated as if their natural immunity does not matter. That is expected to expire after 6 months, right? After 6 months, and instead you are required to get a vaccination. You can tell already, that the refreshment of the vaccination is what our elites have in mind. I mean, the perpetual, continuous refreshment of the vaccination. And I can do nothing but speculate about the long-term consequences of it. We know that, and it's uncontested, that the vaccine does have side effects. It's just unclear how many, to what demographic, and how much that accumulates if it is not a one-off, which is what most of us actually expected it to be. But if it continues to be shot into your veins every half a year or every year, then we don't know, what the long-term consequences will be. And I think it is scary that we can't discuss our fears about it openly. So this is what I'm going to say about this. I'm not a doctor, and I just want to give a shout out to everybody who has decided against getting vaccinated, etc., etc. That I am supportive of you. I will not disclose any medical details of my person over the internet, anyways, no matter what it is. So don't ask me back what my vaccination status is, because I think there is some right to privacy. And this leads me to the topic of this video, which is about an intrusive state and a helping majority, unfortunately, that is happy to assist everybody in the destruction of our privacy. And what bothers me a lot is the increasing number of articles and other media content that is suggesting that we should be more frugal. There was this initial Washington Post article in America that went viral, or people mocking it. I'm sure that thereafter there were more of those that, we all just have to change our behavior. Everybody has to change a little bit his behavior and not be too selfish, and so on and so on. So our expectations are lowered here. And, I've seen this Washington Post article, but I guess there have been more in America. Then I made this video about the AID and how they commented on how great inflation is for the climate and everything. And today's story is exemplary of how this is advancing, because we are leaving the territory of politely suggesting that people could, be more frugal, save money here, and we have some tips for you there. And we are moving to you should be checked. You should be checked. You should check yourself. You should learn to check yourself. And of course, a topic that the left likes, apparently. I see this in a couple of articles. It's not just the one that I talk about today, but I think this is a starting trend, that they talk about heating. The same people who claim that they are totally concerned about your immune system are also very happy about turning down your heater, despite the negative effects of immunity. And it should be obvious to everybody that most people die in winter for a reason. Your immunity goes down, and therefore you cannot defend yourself against diseases. The Bundesrat has decided that we are going to have a law that demands the utility bills include not just your previous heating habits or past heating of the last year, the comparison, the annual comparison, but also your comparison to your average citizen. So here we are moving towards a collectivist system where you are held accountable to everybody else around you. So far, of course, it is suggested it is all voluntary. You don't have to, you're not going to be bossed around. But seeing the overall economic decline, which concerns me a lot, I think more and more of us are going to be dependent from the government, and we are likely to be told that you are heating too much. You are heating too much for your input to society, or your wealth, your worth for society. They would not phrase it like this, but they would say you are heating too much, right? And it's very clear that somebody like Ursula von der Leyen will not be held to the same standards like everybody else. Recently, she was caught flying from Vienna to, I think it was Bratislava, with a private jet. And the same woman is constantly talking about climate this, climate that. It's perfectly clear that these people will not be held to the same standards that we will be held to. And heating will be one thing, I guess, in a couple of years that we will be told about. So how are they going to detect the average that you are compared to? They will force the manufacturers to include a heating meter into every heater that is remotely accessible. So here we are right into sci-fi land, right? And this is something that had been predicted in a lot of novels, that we will see some kind of intelligence directing our every lives to the minutiae, and that our very, very electronics will betray us, will tell to the authorities what we do. And this may come to fruition. The heater will report to a central authority, it will be to central authority to some degree, how much we have heated, right? This is, of course, not just left to your device, figuratively speaking, but such a heating meter that's accessible from outside will have to be included into every heater by the end of 2026. So we have only a few years to go until it will be mandatory for all heaters to be to have a meter included that can be remotely accessed. So there's no privacy left. And what I think is quite interesting is that our government, particularly the Green Party, which obviously is just the party and not the government, but ideologically wise, our entire government is based on their agenda. So the Green Party and the EU officials also very, very in this cultish mindset. They constantly talk about data protection. And when you're in Europe, you are forced to click on a pop-up literally every single time you open a new website. You are always reminded that some data may be stored on your personal computer. And the idea is that we are protecting our data security. This is for two reasons, because obviously these very people are not concerned about our data security. They want your data. They want even your heating data, right? So why are they doing this? They want to give the impression that they care about your data protection. So you have to do something every time you open a website to acknowledge that they really, really care about your data protection. And when they give examples, it's always Facebook. whatever people do on Facebook. And I think most of the activity on Facebook is actually designed to be public. So I don't even know why they use this example all the time. And at the same time, they use this, their claim to concern over our data protection in order to rob those big tech companies. The European Union is big in cashing in penalties from Silicon Valley. Of course, they're not penalties, they just steal. They want the money, and therefore they make up concerns which they drag all these big tech companies to the courts for. But when it comes to the actual concerns, they are not shared by these people at all. And they want your data. They just want also the money from big tech. And that obvious contradiction is glossed over by bossing people around even more. And that is the remotely accessible heating meter must be in line with the standards of the Federal Office for Safety on Information Technology. So this is also, again, like the cookies, like the cookie warnings. This is designed to give us the impression that they really care about our data protection, when in reality, they really only care about our data and our money, of course. Already in 2020, the bills are expected to include the prior year, and that's even expected to be the case from January onwards. Now, why is this? What is this design? I mean, I've already said that those who are dependent will eventually be told, you are heating too much, right? You are heating too much. But also this is like politics, feedback, control. When people say, oh, you know, my grandma is shivering in winter and she has all kind of ailments and so on, and somebody can say, you know what, your grandma is living quite a luxurious life. Don't you think your grandma lives beyond her means? Additionally, what it does is it creates extreme envy. When we were all in a free market society, we could expect that if we work really hard, that our lives would improve. But our elites are beyond wanting our lives to improve. They want to degrade us. They want to shame us. They want us to live very bad lives. They really hate us. And so they want us to not point our fingers at them and say, well, let's see how much Ursula von der Leyen heats her home. But they want us to control our neighbors. Oh, I've seen her window open. How is it? And they want people to be proud that they really saved energy for the climate, you understand? Not to cover up that our incompetent elites have totally destroyed our economic system, but you know, for some higher good, and that higher good is protecting the climate. So what they want, and you have an example of that in American history, the Great Society, is all these women, and I'm sorry, there are also some men, but you know, all these women who say, you heat too much, and in the Great Society it was, your price for that product is too high, and your price for that product is too low. You had all these little busybodies spying at each other, squealing, and this is a society East Germans lived for decades. This is what they used to, the Stasi-like mentality. Every behavior gets controlled, and if you have your door open for too long and the heat comes out, it shows that you don't care about the environment, etc., etc. So what it really is designed to do is create distrust among the people, because the people that distrusts itself cannot rise up against any authority. And what it also does, it really seals the ambition. If you go to Cuba, for example, you understand immediately that people are broken. People are not broken financially, but spiritually. I show you some pictures here of East Germany. This is Leipzig. This gray neglect is the result of a broken spirit. It is when people get the feeling they can't help, they can't improve themselves. Whenever they do something for the community, it is swiftly abused by some authorities. And they better just really care for their own interests and claim that they only really care about somebody else's interest. This is how communism works. Everybody is selfish, but pretends to be selfless. They are not even the legitimate interests. No, you pretend to have no self-interest, and at the same time you actually do nothing anymore for anybody else. It is an immoral, evil system. And I hope we find a turnaround, that people will heed the warnings and that they take it serious, that the news media is openly telling us to lower our expectations. Don't lower your expectations, heighten your spirits. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you soon. Bye.